Hello, guys. Today I have mixed emotions. I am here with mixed emotions. Do you know why? Because for the first time, Ishowspeed broke down on his African tour. He broke down at Liberia, or rather in Liberia. It is only natural that this kind of things happen. People have been asking all over the internet, where does he get his energy, his strength from? Seeing that almost every country he goes to, he does activities that require strength, speed, agility, and all that. And then he keeps on going from country to country, you understand? Traveling, to different places. And he keeps going. As a human being, it's only natural that this kind of things happen. Now we know speed is not a machine. You understand? Speed is not a machine. He's a human being like us, with blood inside him as well. You understand? Just like you and I. But his tour so far has been very successful. And even before this happened, you understand? It happened in Liberia, but even before it happened, he had such a nice time in Liberia as we've seen on his streams. You understand? It was a very successful outing, just like he had in Benin Republic. Not the kind of shambles that Nigeria did. I always make reference to that. But Liberia was equally a success. Why am I saying that? Ishowspeed got a king-like reception. They received him like a king in Liberia. Honestly, they were laying down their aprons for him to step and march upon. You understand? Just like they do with kings. Yes, that was the kind of reception he got in Liberia. If you see the crowd that came out to welcome him, some people are saying almost half of the people in Liberia came out to welcome Ishowspeed. Yes, people came out in numbers. Yeah, it was really very impressive. Yes. And equally, Speed visited their local markets. He interacted with the local women in the markets. He got to experience firsthand how a day in the life of a Liberian is, a normal Liberian is, where they shop, the kind of vegetables they have, the kind of things they have in their local markets. That is really very impressive. You understand? This is what this young man left America, left his home to do, to explore all this in Africa. Liberia gave him a very good experience. And I'm glad. I'm really happy for him. Aside the market experience, he equally had some very special, cultural dance experience as well. He experienced their culture, their dance. Some of them he even joined in the dances. If you see the energy that Ishowspeed was using to dance, even dances that he doesn't know, he's a very fast learner. He learned the steps immediately and joined in these dances, and then the transition, the skills, the movement, you would think he has known this dance for ages. You understand? It's really very impressive. And all of these things consume energy. You understand? And he does it from country to country. And all this he is doing in a African weather that he's not used to. You understand? This is not American or even European weather. But he has been touring Africa, so it is natural. At some point, he asked for space that he needed to just, cool off his head and regroup his head because he was feeling lightheaded of some sort. You understand? Yes, some traditional women welcomed him and, showed him the ritual of rice that they do with rice, you understand, to welcome people into their community, you understand, in good faith. And then he was even asking, why are they throwing rice into the air? But he doesn't know that, okay, these are some of the cultures, some of the customs that Africans have that the world needs to see. You understand? It's very important. I kudos to what Ishowspeed is doing right now. Big kudos, because he is exposing, or should I rather say, he is, showing the world what African culture is like. You understand? And he even, had one-on-one dance with the voodoo. You understand? Some all those masquerades. You understand? Liberian masquerade now, not the one he experienced in Benin. You understand? Liberia, and if you see the movement, he was agile. He was following the masquerade to dance those dance. Somehow, it was really really a beautiful time in Liberia as well. You understand? Yes. And then one of the things that surprised me in a good way, that marveled me, was a well in Liberia that is called the well wishing well. Together, the well wishing well, where you get to draw water from the well. If you wash your face with the water and then make a wish, your wish will come true. Isn't that exciting? Now, Ishowspeed made a wish. He drew from the well himself, he washed his face, and made a wish. Now, any day that wish he made happens, he will always remember that well. That's a very significant something. You understand? He will always remember that well. He equally met with Miss Liberia and some other, beauty pageant winners in Liberia. They introduced him to the different, products that are made in Liberia. They introduced him to the chips, you understand, some cereal packages. And then Ishowspeed was even raising, the most beautiful girl in Liberia. He reminded her of, this Michael Jackson song that he sang about Liberian girl. Understand? Yeah. One of them even sang the song with him. Understand? So all these are very beautiful stuff that we get to see, and then we get to see how beautiful those Liberian girls actually are. That Michael Jackson had to sing about them. Oh no, you need to see them. You need to see them. They are really very beautiful. Do you understand? Yeah. And then there was one thing that caught my attention as well. How the Liberian people, pound. Is it one of their swallows? Understand? I've forgotten the name, but they pound it in the mortar. Understand? And Ishowspeed experienced that. He pounded it himself. He was very happy doing it. Understand? And all that. It was a very very lovely experience for him in Liberia. But one major thing that happened that I'm still buzzing about is the fact that he tested Liberian jollof, but still confess that Nigerian jollof is way better. That is one thing I'm proud of my country. When it comes to jollof rice, forget it. Our jollof rice is the best. In fact, when it comes to food in general, I don't think there's any African country or even any country worldwide that can compete when it comes to food with Nigeria. I don't think there is. You understand? So put it on record that Nigerian jollof is the absolute best. And then he, experienced this this very very special event in Liberia, where they jump obstacles. You understand? It was very energy consuming, and if you see how agile he was doing it, all of those things consumes a lot of energy. You understand? So I believe that contributed to his breakdown. All of this energy that he's expelling. Remember he fought an MMA fighter in Benin Republic, and then all of these trainers exercises coming up again. You understand? More big ups, big shout out to Ishowspeed. Honestly, Not many people can put their body towards such stress, you understand, just to showcase, the African culture. So this is a very, very big ups and big shout out to Ishowspeed and everybody that is responsible for making this happen worldwide, you understand? Yeah. But something unfortunate happened in Liberia as well. You understand? He couldn't finish his stream that day because the government had to stop it. You understand? Because the crowd was becoming too much, and I guess they were scared of having stampede for their people not to get injured out of the too much crowd that is gathering at a go. But Speed, despite his breakdown, he was willing to still continue, if not for the government that intervened. Yes, and, sadly as that may sound, Ishowspeed actually had a very good time in Liberia. Next up, he will be up in Cote d'Ivoire, that is Ivory Coast, and that will be happening, on Sunday today. So he'll be streaming live on Sunday today. I will be here with the updates of everything that happened in Ivory Coast. I hope you join me again. You understand? So we experience this together. Thank you so much. Peace out.